If you're sitting the Edexcel Pure 1 paper on the 4th of June, you need to understand range and domain. So let me show you a few different ones that often come up. So remember, your domain is your input. So I like to think of this as my x values, and your range is your output. So that's going to be the y. First one is f of x equals x squared. So have a think about what that graph looks like. And it looks like this. So we can input all of the x values, any value we want. So we can write it like this. But for our range, our output, you can see that it's only going to be the positive y values. So that means f of x is going to be greater than or equal to 0. For this one, we have a square root. They love putting a square root because you can't have a negative under a square root. So that means for this, x has to be greater than or equal to 2. And if that's the case, if we put 2 into here, we're going to have the square root of 0, which is 0. Any value greater is going to give us a value bigger than that. So that means our range is f of x is greater than or equal to 0. Another one that they love to put in, so a fraction, we know that the denominator of a fraction cannot equal 0. So if x plus 1 cannot equal 0, then that means that x cannot equal negative 1. But it can take all other values. And if we think about what this looks like on a graph, it will look like this. Here we're going to have an asymptote at x equals negative 1, and we're also going to have an asymptote here at y equals 0. So that means f of x cannot equal 0. So here we have a log, so we know that we can't have a negative inside a log, and it also can't be 0. So that means that x needs to be greater than 0. But if we think about what the graph looks like, it's going to look like this. So that means f of x can take all values. And the last one, so this is the exponential of x. And you might have realized that this is actually the inverse function of ln x. And what happens when it's the inverse function? The range and the domain swap over. So now x is going to take all of these values. So negative infinity all the way up to infinity. But f of x is going to take these values, so that has to be greater than 0. So make sure you know how to do this for the 4th of June and you'll be absolutely fine with your exam. Good luck.